Hello everyone, hello. Oh, sorry, hit myself in the face. Can you hear me? Everybody here okay? Awesome. Okay, welcome to the 2022 Municipality of Tweed All Candidates meeting. I'm your MC for the evening, Tim Porter. Thank you all for coming. This event is being hosted by the Tweed and Area Chamber of Commerce. They will be moderating the event this evening. The Chamber is a volunteer-run organization in Tweed that celebrates the growth of business and strives to connect residents with our local businesses. Tonight, they're all over there. You can wave at the Chamber. They're there. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting. Tonight, residents will be able to hear from all the candidates participating in this event. We ask everyone to please be kind and considerate to everyone who has the floor this evening. I'm quickly going to introduce all the candidates so they can wave as well. On the end, we have Seamus Prevost. Beside him is Brenda Prevost. Beside Brenda is Brian Traynor. And then we have Natalie Hunt. Jamie DeMarche, Jim Fleeler, Jacob Palmatier, Sandor Johnson, Pete Sack, Peter Valakat, Lindsay Pernick, Paul Kite, and out here in the audience are acclaimed candidates, Shannon Binder, and Don DeGenova. And really, I'm glad you clapped for them, because I don't know how you all feel, but I think this is a huge undertaking and a very brave thing to put yourself out there like this. So again, thank you all for running and supporting our community. It's great. This event will be video recorded, so please be mindful of chatter in the audience. If you have any phones with your ringer on, please silence your phones, and if you need to take a call, please take it outside. Washrooms are to the back on the right there. The evening is planned to go until 9 p.m., and we'll have a 10-minute break after about 30 minutes. Election Day is October 17th to the 20th, election week, and will be conducted by phone and online only. Please visit tweed.ca for details. We in Tweed will be voting for 1 deputy mayor position and 3 councillors. We have 4 individuals running for deputy mayor and 8 for councillor positions. We'll be hearing from acclaimed candidates, and following that, we'll be hearing from those running for deputy mayor and councillor. Topics submitted by residents for discussion include support for the library, short-term rentals, and possible licensing and the use of bio-waste in farming in our area. If time allows, candidates may be able to speak to more issues. After all the candidates have had a chance to speak, due to resident demand, we will be opening the floor to questions from residents from 8 to 8:30 p.m. Candidates will have up to 2 minutes to answer these questions. Following this, we'll move to a meet and greet format where the residents will break off into different areas of the room and will be available to personally answer questions you may have. If you do not have a question to ask, you're welcome to observe candidates and their responses to other posed questions. All right. Without any further ado, I'm going to welcome up Shannon Binder, our acclaimed English Public School Board trustee.
Thank you, Tim. Hi, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Shannon Binder, and I'm your Southeast Hastings trustee within the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board. This area covers Tweed, Tynonega, and Deseronto. I was first acclaimed in 2018, and I'm happy to have been reacclaimed to serve as your local representative until 2026. Our board serves over 15,000 students across the counties of Hastings and Prince Edward, covering an area of over 7,000 square miles. Due to our wide rural base, an ongoing issue we face is the need for reliable internet. This need is felt across many municipalities and was made even more prevalent during our transition to virtual schooling as a result of the pandemic. Advocating for affordable broadband will continue to be a school board priority. On a positive note, we've had a great start to our 2022-2023 school year, with many excited children encouraged by the lifting of pandemic measures and the reintroduction of extracurricular activities. Areas of focus this year will include raising the bar, foundational reading skills, and single streaming within our high schools. I'm happy to discuss these or any other priorities as you see them. My contact information is on the school board website. Thank you again for allowing me to serve the area for the past 4 years and for your confidence in me and allowing me to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Next up, we'll welcome our acclaimed mayor, Don DeGenova.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim. I'm grateful and honored to be your next mayor, and I have the greatest respect for Mayor Albert. She has done a wonderful job. They're going to be tough shoes to fill, and she's going to be an excellent mentor for me, as she has been in the past. I want to thank the Tweed Area Chamber of Commerce for all that you have done in organizing tonight's event. I'd like to thank all of you candidates for stepping forward and wanting to make a difference in a community that you, no doubt, are very passionate about. I also want to reach out to our current council and thank them for leading us through a very troubling time. No one was equipped to respond to a pandemic, and they did the best they could, and for that I am grateful. And now we finally have a third lagoon, and I'm thankful for that as well. Chuck and I have been together for 29 years, 15 of those years in the municipality of Tweed. Chuck is a family physician at the Gateway Community Health Centre, and I'm a community activist at this point in my life. I served on municipal council from 2010 to 2018. I'm currently the president-elect for Kiwanis, the president of Tweed and Company Theatre, chair of the Hastings County Economic Facilitation Program, director with Tweed and Area Council, and director with the Belleville General Hospital Foundation, and sit on the Moira Place Advisory Committee. I want to ignite in you a desire to inspire, because that is exactly what you have done for me. I have identified 9 pillars as part of my platform and vision, and they are outlined in my brochure. They include housing, economic development, recreational program and infrastructure, agriculture community support, healthy communities, greening our community, empowering our youth, supporting arts and culture. Our municipal staff are highly trained and very competent at what they do. Sure, like any organization, we have hiccups, but I have the greatest confidence in their ability to basically run the municipality. That being said, we are there to support them when needed and to work with them on preparing the annual budget, which will guide our operations. I would like your next council to focus on the future, and on the future and how we are going to get there. I have identified some big projects, and I gotta go. Bye.
Thank you, Don. Next up will be the first of our deputy mayor candidates, the first of 4, and that is Jamie DeMarche.
I'm Jamie DeMarche, and it's been a pleasure representing you as your councillor for the last 8 years. First elected as your councillor in 2014 and then re-elected in 2018, I would like to give back to this municipality once again, this time as your deputy mayor. For 6 generations, my family has proudly called the municipality of Tweed home, and now my 2 young adult children call it home too. For 16 years, I owned and operated a business in the village of Tweed, and now I'm a licensed realtor with Remax Quinny in Tweed. I come from a very modest family. My dad was a bus driver, and my mom worked with autistic children. And to this day, autism holds a very special place in my heart. I learned at a very young age that the value of hard work by cutting grass and delivering papers, and it's a lesson to this day I've never forgotten. Giving back to the community that I love so much, I have volunteered extensively throughout my life, through organizations and various other means. Serving as a firefighter for over 12 years, numerous local committees and boards, and supporting the causes in the community that are important to you. Supporting your mayor and working with your council on a multitude of issues, we can move this municipality forward in a positive way. For everyone, each and every resident, regardless of your address. If elected, you will have a visible and experienced deputy mayor who is active in your community, ready to support your mayor and work with your council on day one. I'm committed to making the municipality of Tweed the most amazing place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. And our next deputy mayor candidate, Sandor Johnson.
Good evening, and I'd like to start by saying thank you all for coming here tonight. It shows me there's a lot of people in our town that care, and that's very, very important to me. My name's Sandor Johnson. I'm the guy that built the winery from scratch here in Tweed. And it's kind of funny tonight. There's been a couple of people here who've been asking me over and over, hey, I'll vote for you if you give me a free bottle of wine. And Brian and Jamie, I can't. It's a joke. Anyway, I'm the guy that built the winery from scratch here in town. I also own a small events company that we just started. As far as my credentials, I worked at a foundation. I was the chief of staff in New York City that managed 40 people saving endangered animals. I also am the director of the Hastings and Lennox-Addington Conservative Party of Canada. I'm also a member of the Hastings County Advisory Committee for Economic Development and Tourism Development. I would like to say, with my 2 minutes, if it's possible, that my political experience, I'm just not going to lie to you guys, is zero. I've never run for any position before. I have a lot of folks that come to my little business in Tweed, and often they complain about how Tweed looks tired. And that really bothers me. It makes me sad. My ancestors are from here. We've been here since 1836, and I know there's a lot that we can do to uplift our town and make it beautiful and bring business together. And we can all profit, whether it's making yourself rich with your property values going up, or whether you just live in a great, beautiful, pretty town. I think there's a lot of work ahead that we can do, and if you elect me as deputy mayor, I will hit the ground running on day one, and if you come to my little winery, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to apply the same methods to our town to uplift and benefit us all. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandor. Next up, Deputy Mayor candidate Seamus Prevost.
Hello, my name is Seamus Prevost. I'd like to thank the Tweed Chamber of Commerce for putting this event together and giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I may be the least experienced candidate, but in the last 12 years, I've been working with the provincial government, counties, and conservation authorities on roads, bridges, infrastructure, and I'd like to use the knowledge that I've learned and learn what I need to try and make this community great. That's about, I have to apologize. Speak up, please. Oh, sorry, can you hear me better now? Anyways, I prepared some notes and I left them at the office on my way here, and I tried to do the best I could from memory. And I've hopefully, if anyone has any questions or would like to approach me, feel free. I'd love to hear your concerns or what you would like to see happen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Seamus. And the last of our deputy mayor candidates, Brian Traynor.
Tim, candidates, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It's good to see you all. My name is Brian Traynor. I'm running for the position of Deputy Mayor, which I've held for the last 12 years. Just a little history. My wife Joan and I emigrated to Canada from Ireland in 1970, and we've made Tweed our home ever since. 52 years ago, you welcomed us into your community. We knew nobody and nobody knew us. As your community accepted us, you took us to your homes, helped us along the way, and you're still doing so. To this warm and friendly community that supported us over the year, we would like to continue to give back in some way. We have 4 children, all were born and raised in this community, all are university graduates, and we have 11 wonderful grandchildren. I taught for 35 years, half of that time in Tweed here and the other half at Centre Hastings Secondary School. This has been a great community to live in and an excellent place to raise a family, and as your Deputy Mayor, I would like to see it stay that way. Just a quote here, that the goal of local government is to provide revenue to maintain, grow and improve infrastructure in communities. This can be accomplished through effective decision making. But to do this, you need to know what is best for your community. Not your own personal agenda, know what is best for the community. Therefore, decisions need to be evidence-based and strategic. The bottom line in all of this is to ensure that all of you citizens can afford to live in this community. This can be accomplished through reasonable tax increases, careful management of assets, supporting all groups and businesses, while providing adequate community services throughout the municipality. I'm not Santa Claus, but I don't intend to be the Grinch either. But to move forward, you need to have a steady hand at the tiller, know where you're going and why. Remember, it's your tax dollars we're dealing with here. Strong leadership will be needed to guide us through the trying times that are ahead. I need your support to become a member of that leadership team. I thank you all.
Thank you, Brian. We're now going to move on to our candidates for councillor, starting with Jim Fleeler.
Got a little bit of a sore leg there, but oh well, we get over that. So, Tim, ladies and gentlemen, fellow candidates, my name is Jim Fleeler, for those of you who don't know me. I'm a proud lifelong resident of the municipality of Tweed. Christina and I have been married for 42 years. Thank you, Christina. For your continued support in everything that I do. We share 3 children, 2 daughter-in-laws, a son-in-law, 10 grandchildren, and they love us tremendously. Great place to bring up your grandchildren. In addition to my experience as a municipal councillor, I serve as chair of Quinte Conservation. I am also an engaged member of Conservation Ontario Board of Directors and Quinte Waste Solutions. I have over 48 years of work experience and consider it an honor to have served this municipality for the past 19 years. Your municipal council is here to represent the interests of its citizens and earn their trust and confidence, and that is what guides me each and every day. It is imperative that we treat everyone with respect and that we work together as a team in the best interest of the municipality. Over the past 19 years, I have done just that. If re-elected, I will continue to work for a livable, functional municipality. I would also like to thank the volunteers. I just attended one of the most important functions that we have in the municipality of Tweed, the volunteer appreciation evening, and I can't say enough about the volunteers here. It's just amazing to watch what takes place. We just had a F2 tornado go through here. I offered my assistance. I went and I assisted wherever I could, and I was so appreciative of all the people that showed up, neighbors, friends, retired merchants, people from Toronto, Kitchener, London, all over the place, Ottawa, to help the people that have just suffered through that tornado. My goodness, I can't believe that it must be the municipality of Tweed that does that. I don't know what else I can say about that, but anyway, it was amazing.
That's not ringing the bell there.
Oh, the bell rang. Well, I'm a little deaf too. I got a sore leg and I'm deaf.
Thank you, Jim. You got through 1 out of 5 pages, so not bad. Next up, councillor candidate Natalie Hunt.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm one of the candidates for councillor in the municipality of Tweed. I live in Thomasburg with my husband and 3 daughters. I've been asked why I'm running for council, and the reason is I'm concerned. Recently, I drove my oldest daughter to her first year in university. I was excited and emotional, but what's concerning about it is she won't come back. She'll be 22 when she graduates, so why would she come back to Tweed? There are no gyms, no pubs, or places for her to meet new people or future partners. She can't swim at our beach, and nor does she have the internet access she needs in our digital world. There isn't enough houses to make our real estate market competitive, so she won't be able to afford a home, and the demand for rentals will ensure she can't secure one. Jobs are far and few between, and in the event she actually wants to open a business, only 2 of 9 empty storefronts are currently available for lease or purchase. And it will be a huge struggle to make it successful, as our tourist numbers are low and lack of services in town cause locals to shop in cities. Obviously, this isn't about my daughter, it's about all of our daughters, our neighbors' daughters, because you know what happens when they don't come home? The parents follow them. They want to be close to them, to support their careers, and to see their grandchildren. These parents are a vital part of our community that we can't lose. They are most likely to be a member of clubs, most likely to maintain their homes, and they will also become our highest consumers as they age. Residential development is taking far too long, and without residents, we don't have people to own, work, or support our businesses. We need to attract tourists by showcasing the beauty of our lake and expanding our main street, which are both currently an eyesore. We need to support and collaborate with attractions, accommodations, and events who draw visitors in. Our hamlets need attention via municipal services and recreation, as they hold a large part of our residents and have the most room for expansion and to house our agriculture. So I guess the real reason I'm running for Tweed, council in Tweed, is to see it grow. If I'm elected, I'm helped to ensure we do so as a community.
Hello everyone. First off, I'd like to thank the Tweed and Area Chamber of Commerce for putting this on. My name is Brenda Prevost. I was born in the little hamlet of Queensborough. Graduated from Centre Hastings Secondary School in Madoc. I married and moved to the little hamlet of Sulphite about 40 years ago. I worked part-time on and off while raising 5 children, and I was fortunate to have employment so close to home. Our kids all graduated from the local schools, and as well were able to have student jobs so close to home, and that helped pay for their post-secondary student loans. Our home wasn't empty too long, as we started fostering with CAS and did so for about 10 years. Throughout these many life experiences, I found myself advocating for others. This brings me to why I feel I would be valuable sitting at the table representing you. I am a compassionate, honest, and sincere person, as well as a strong and determined one when I need to be. I trust that you will make the best decision for our whole community. Thank you.
I am a mom of 4 who was born and raised in Tweed. I came from a big family who enjoys spending time together. On a typical Friday night, you will find all of us at the park visiting, enjoying a local coffee and each other's company. I went to elementary school at St. Cartha's as well as my children. I graduated from Loyalist College as a developmental services worker in 2002. I worked in Nunavut with children and adults with developmental and physical disabilities, and worked in the school board as an EA when I came home. I have worked with the Red Cross and the Parkinson's Group of Belleville, the Elvis Festival, the Tweed Stampede, as a volunteer. I've been on the Tweed Hungerford Agricultural Fair Board for well over 20 years. I am here for all your concerns and issues that have been ignored or brushed off for far too long. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me, as I will make sure every concern and issue is taken to the table. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Peter Zach. I was born and raised in Scarborough, Ontario. My parents bought a farmhouse with unlimited potential near Stoco and moved here 23 years ago. I joined them nearly 8 years ago myself. Most of you, one way or another, have come to know me as an employee of Rushot's Home Hardware. Hopefully we met on a good day. Prior to that, I found myself as a senior geological technician of exploration at isolated exploration camps in northern British Columbia and the Yukon Territory. Beneath the midnight sun, we searched for and defined geological deposits of lead, zinc, and gold. Worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 6 weeks in camp, 2 weeks out, rinse and repeat for 6 years. Today, I am a humble homesteader who raises quails, keeps an eye on the family farm, and works at your local hardware store. I conduct myself in my daily life embracing and defending the values I cherish most: truth, compassion, tradition, community, family, responsibility, and liberty. It is with the greatest of respect and humility that I ask you for your vote and thank you for your time and consideration. You can find me ready to answer questions or hear your concerns every Thursday at Finn's Pub, come on by and join the conversation.
Hello, my name is Paul Kite and I'm running for Tweed Council. And thank you for taking a moment to listen to my introduction. So who am I? I'm the owner of Quinza Tweed Art Gallery, along with my partner, Paula Fitzpatrick. We moved here in 2018, and since that time, we've become very involved with the community, including I'm currently the president of the Kiwanis Club of Tweed, and I serve on the Tweed Music Festival Board as secretary. Paul is also involved with several groups, including your Chamber of Commerce. Prior to moving to Tweed, I was in the private business in the software industry. I've helped create companies as small as 10 or 12 people, and some in excess of 100 in 3 different countries. It has provided me with a lot of executive and board experience, and this includes nonprofits. I'm also a writer, and I contribute to the Tweed News on a weekly basis, as well as some of our local magazines like Grapevine. So why would I like to serve on the Tweed Council, and in particular ask for your vote to put me there? I've always contended that the municipal level of government is which impacts us the most. We rely on our infrastructure like water and sewage, and services like police protection, fire, healthcare. They're all administered at the local level, so they impact us on a daily basis. They also make decisions about our future. Where are we spending our money on capital projects, and like for roads and bridges, and for all the other areas that we use on a daily basis. So I'd like to use my experience to help in that daily governance and in that planning for the future. I also would like to use my experience to help promote our municipality and the region to a greater degree. The more visitors we have, the more revenue it brings in, and also it brings in more residents, which creates a larger tax base, which provides us with more money to help with that daily governance, as well as, more importantly, for that future planning. So again, thank you for listening to the short introduction, and please vote.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Palmatier, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm that young lad that's been on council for the past 4 years. As some of you may remember, I first ran for council to try to make Tweed a place people are able to raise a family, and that ideology is the reason I still stand before you here today. I hope to raise my kids here in Tweed with the same opportunities that I had, and I want my kids to be able to raise their families here as well. I would love to share with you each individual thing I plan to do, and I'm sure that you will get a good understanding of that from the questions. But the truth is, that's not how a council functions. You will elect 5 individuals here to make a collective decision that hopefully represents your interests. Although I have desires, it is up to the consensus of that group to make these a reality. Instead, you should be looking up here and thinking about who has your best interests in mind and what kind of person they are. First and foremost, I'm a farmer. That is what takes up most of my time, and if you ask my wife, most of my life. I'm the 3rd generation on our farm, and I'm fortunate to be able to work with my father every day. Being a farmer, I spend most of my long days running equipment, managing money, and working with Mother Nature to try to make the books balance at the end of the year. It's a lot like running a town. I'm also an active community member. I spend a lot of my time at the rink in the winter, and you can find me the odd weekend when I'm not farming at the baseball diamonds in the summer. I am a member of our local board for beef farmers of Hastings County, and I am a part of a few different committees on council as well. The biggest thing that you should know about me is that I'm not a good politician. I'm open, I'm honest, and I don't like my picture taken. However, I like to be busy, and I love working towards a better municipality here in Tweed. Thank you.
Okay, Okay, welcome back everyone. So this next section, we're going to be doing the resident submitted topics and other. So topics were submitted by residents for discussion, and they include support for the library, short-term rentals, and possible licensing and the use of bio-waste in farming in our area. If time allows, candidates are welcome to speak to other issues as well. So our first person here is going to be Deputy Mayor candidate Brian Traynor.
Okay folks, the first one I'm going to talk about is the short-term rentals. And just currently there's no municipality in Hastings County that licenses STRs. Hastings County promotes them for tourism and are currently working on a study to see what the value of such accommodations are. Things to consider if you decide to move with them is numbers of properties where complaints have been identified, the cost of developing, implementing and monitoring licensing programs. Staff and resources required to do this, and but if you conducted a public survey ahead of this, you might get an idea on what the feelings are throughout the municipalities regarding them. The bottom line would be the implementation cost, and one tiny township estimated that the cost would be over $100,000 per year to implement that. That's something you need to take into consideration. What is important for libraries to offer librarians to help find information they need, borrowing books, free access to computers, the internet and the IT support, which is excellent in our library, quiet study spaces for people and children to pass the time with, programs for children, teens and adults, research resources for free databases, meeting rooms to discuss whatever they want, job employment and career resources. Yes, we offer all of this and more in our library. It's absolutely fantastic. And yes, I will continue to support the library, and currently the municipality of Tweed pays up to $160,000 a year to support the library, so we're doing that on a regular basis. Biosolids, I just quickly run through that on the internet. I'm not a farmer, but anyway, OMAFRA notifies the local municipality when any NASM plan within the jurisdiction is approved. It's already been approved by the time we get the information. The MOE conducts pre-approval inspections and makes sure that the site conditions such as slope, setbacks for water and one thing another like that are in place. The permit to spread non-agricultural material is basically the ministry, and we have no say on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Next up, Deputy Mayor candidate Seamus Prevost.
Well, I chose two of the topics that I heard while I was out speaking with people. Most of them were concerned about the roads and infrastructure, and as well, a lot of the people in the hamlets have mentioned the difficulties they've been having due to their volunteers and the loss of them. One thing I would like to use is my experience and our existing infrastructure inventory so that we can plan routine inspections to better prepare for any routine maintenance or rehabilitations or replacements on bridges or roads or buildings, so that the procurement can be done in a more planned manner where you're not doing emergency repairs at higher costs and you're getting more participation from contractors on your tenders. And on the volunteers with the communities, the hamlets, I think we could support them maybe better and try to re-engage or draw more volunteers and re-engage some of the ones that we've lost recently. And thank you.
Thank you, Seamus. Next up, Deputy Mayor candidate Sandra Johnson.
To address these topics, I'll start with short-term rentals. I own a tourist operation, so I'm heavily reliant on folks coming into town. I had one of my best friends come from California, needed a place to stay, and we were very grateful that they stayed at a lovely place that was available in our town. I would say that if you are going to avail your home, your personal space to folks, I would say thank you, because we don't have any hotels here in town that can accommodate people. I'm a free market capitalist. I think that, hey, why should I tax you? Or why should I have you pay for licensing fees? The only thing that would be a caveat for me in terms of that issue, I don't think I'd like maybe somebody saying from Toronto buying some spaces here and nobody, it's just all done over the internet. We just hand the keys there and no one's kind of policing that sort of thing. I think we should also know who's staying there. If they're safe. I know the Airbnb policies, you rate the owner rates you, they have their own insurance. But I'm definitely pro-business. I own a business. I'm one of the few people here at this table tonight that owns 2 businesses. I meet payroll. And I think that if you're going to do that, all I can say to you is thank you, because we do need these spaces here to accommodate tourism. As far as the library, 100%. I'm pro-education, pro-library. I think that's a big softball, as Paul said, for the candidates tonight. I think we're all pro-library. The third thing in terms of the effluent, I know I wouldn't want it in my backyard, but I do know on the other side, the flip side is that we're creating this stuff. I don't think it's really fair to send it abroad. I think this requires more study. We need to do environmental impact assessments to make sure we're not going to be poisoning our groundwater with E. coli, heavy metals and such. So this requires a lot of thought and make sure that we get the answers correct. I'm here to work for you, okay? Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Sandra. And finally, our Deputy Mayor candidate, Jamie DeMarsh.
It's been a busy and challenging 4 years for your council. Working together, we have numerous accomplishments. The lagoon expansion is complete, and if elected as your deputy mayor, I will work with all developers and levels of government for new and affordable housing, rental units, and senior accommodations. Recreation facilities have been upgraded, and numerous roads have been rehabilitated. Equipment purchased and partnerships formed. Balancing fiscal responsibility with the needs of an entire municipality with functional, practical, and responsible decisions. You have told me what's important to you, from keeping taxes affordable and maintaining our vital infrastructure to recreational facilities, rural internet, and events that bring our community together. The last couple of years has been so difficult for our firms and businesses. I'm so proud of them. Now, more than ever, it's so important that we promote them to shine, seek out new investments, and make our municipality the best place to do business. Our municipality is big and it's beautiful. From our signature events and top-notch facilities to our stunning natural beauty, beautiful library, and Oil Kings Hockey Club. We have so much to be proud of and look forward to. Everyone, from our village to our hamlets, rural, full-timers, seasonal, deserve equal representation and consideration in all decisions. Working closely with your mayor and council to meet the challenges that we face to move an entire municipality forward. And we will all do it together, along with each and every resident. The operation of a municipality is complex, and experience matters in your next deputy mayor. Thank you for your faith in me for the last 8 years. It's been such an amazing experience to be able to give back to the community that I love so much. I would love to give back once again, this time as your deputy mayor.
Thank you, Jamie. We'll now move on to our candidates for councillor, starting with Pete Zach.
Hey folks. Alright, so we'll start with the library. I think the library is a very important thing. We have a beautiful facility. I think the need to have literature and a quiet place for people to get together is very important for the community, as well as the services they offer for our senior community, which is very large. The other question was on the bio slurry, and I did a little bit of looking into that. There seems to be 3 different categories that it falls into. The first 2 categories I have absolutely no concerns with whatsoever. The final category, which is the reuse of human byproducts, is a little bit of a concern, and I think that mostly comes from the lack of information I've been able to get up until this point. My concern of that is with, in particular, the pharmaceuticals actually, and them penetrating into the food chain. I don't believe I'll get any answers on that until I can actually speak to the province about that, and they can tell me what kind of information they have on whether it just makes it into the corn, whether it makes it into the animal, or whether it makes it to our table. And the last one was the,
short-term rentals. I think we are in a good position right now. We don't need to create more licensing or anything along those lines. I think if people in our community are trying to do that and put that time and money and effort and get through the process that is required for them to get to that point, additional licensing is not required. I would like to see, though, to the point that Sandra made, about outside investors creating these sort of turnkey Airbnbs. I think they need to be a little more monitored or watched, and in more the sense for the safety of the people that will be staying at the facilities and to the community itself. If they're not there to check, you don't know if smoke detectors are still working between visits. You don't know if...
Thank you, Pete. Candidate Peter Malakat.
All right, so I've knocked on a bunch of doors, probably not as much as some of the other candidates, but I'm doing my best. The questions from the chamber aren't really top level things that people talk to me when I go to their door. But really quickly, biosolids clearly fall on the purview of the provincial government. County, we're told about them, but there's already a permit in place and it's going ahead. So if we want to change that, we need like we need maybe a group to come forward and bring it to council to take that forward to the province. Second is short-term rentals. So I understand this has already gone to the planning committee. I don't, from what I'm hearing is it's not a problem. So I don't think we need to go with the added expense of putting something in place to manage that. I have no problem with the short-term rentals. Libraries, I'm not going to surprise anybody here. Our library is great. You should go online, look at their website. They have books, they have programs, they have things for people to do. So certainly positive stuff. What I do run into all the time, and these are in no particular order, is the downtown. So people say the downtown looks tired. Don't disagree, but there is a lot of positive things that have gone on downtown. Right? We have a lot of new storefronts downtown. There are some empty, but there are some that are very nice and that are attracting people to our community. There could be more, it could be better, absolutely, but it's not as terrible as everybody makes it out to be. Development in the municipality, we need more development. We have to support developers in the community and we have to support them with wise strategic planning. Where do we want to go as a community? What do we want to do for 8, 12, 16, 20 years down the road? And finally, garbage pickup. Really an overarching kind of comment from people who live in all of the hamlets. So maybe it is time to revisit that. I can't tell you what the solution is. I have a couple of things that I think might work, like some static drop-off spots for people in some of the hamlets. But I don't have anything firm, but it's certainly a place to start and have a conversation about. I'm in under my 2 minutes, and I'm pretty proud of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Brenda Prevost, candidate Brenda Prevost.
Okay, I do believe it's important to continue to support our library. It offers many programs that help our youth and our seniors, and our housing, definitely. Everybody knows that that's a problem everywhere. The other piece I would like to speak on is Monday night there was a presentation put on at the Lions Hall for residents and businesses. The guest speaker was Doug Griffith. They spoke about everyone working together to achieve the ultimate goal, a prosperous and growing community, but keeping the small town feel to it. We have some very legitimate concerns, hopes, and dreams, and what I heard from many was that they're not being heard nor addressed. As the presentation, he spoke of the community working together and how it will only benefit all of us. It validates our concerns and acknowledges the hopes and dreams we all have. That narrows it down and it helps put everything into action. This sparked something in me that if we all work together, Stokoe, Tweed, Marlbank, Tinlight, Thomasburg, Queensborough, Sulphide, Bogart, Otter Creek, Vanderwater, Sunsmile, so many, and pool our vast resources of knowledge and experience from our volunteers, our businesses, community groups, farmers, residents, prioritize our infrastructure's concerns, and put all of our heads together and go into action, I'm sure we will all benefit. Let's take advantage of all we have to offer here and work together for the common goal of a successful municipality. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Candidate Lindsay Perna.
I guess I'm the really short one here. So as for the library, absolutely continuing with the support. It's very important. As my kids were growing up, you know, my kids used it all the time. The benefits are very, very important. As for the short-term rentals, I don't really think it's of concern right now, and yeah, my opinion on the banning of the sludge, we would have to know, like Mr. Kite said, where, like if the human waste part of it is getting into the food and it's making it to our tables. And then, again, the housing was another one of my main concerns. Because everywhere around our area, you can find low-income housing. There is no low-income housing in Tweed. There are tons of single moms in Tweed, but no low-income housing. And then, again, every Friday night I sit down at the park with my aunts and uncles over the summer.
Thank you, Lindsay. Candidate Jacob Palmatier.
Thank you. First, I'd like to start off with the library. Kind of feel tall for a second. First, I'd like to start with the library. I'd continue with the support. It has many great resources, as you've heard. Secondly, with biosolids, we could go into a long spiel with an agricultural background. There are a lot of things in place right now, and as well, even with the human waste side of things, we all have to remember that if you're in the rural countryside, our waste is in our backyard. Yes, it's in a tank, but we do have seepage out through a weeping bed. So we do have to remember that there are comparisons out there in life as well to putting the biosolids on. And thirdly, with the short-term rentals, I don't believe we need a fee at this point. We don't have an issue. We could use more short-term rentals, but I'd be open into speaking with these businesses to see if they'd like something like an accreditation from the municipality that says we've inspected it, we've looked at it, and it's kind of a third-person inspection. So that's an idea that could come up. But the reason people want these these licenses on the short-term rentals is to try to combat affordable housing. 4 years ago, I was asked about affordable housing here, and I did not know how to answer. Today, I've seen in the last 4 years a direction. To get there, we need to encourage development. Well, that's easy to say. How do we get development? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to make it easy. And secondly, we need to make it a safe bet. These people are going to spend millions of dollars. Building houses isn't cheap. Millions of dollars in our community. We need to make that a safe bet, that they're going to make returns on their money. People need to make money in order for the world to move. People aren't going to do it if they can't make money. So we have to accept that and not be upset that somebody's going to get something. But if we can build infrastructure and improve things in this municipality so that people want to move here they'll build it as long as we help with the resources and we move ahead and try to help them navigate through all the red tape and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Candidate Paul Kite.
Library. As they all said, yes, we support the library. It's not only a place to borrow books, but it's also a meeting place. And it serves all demographics in our community. So it is a softball, as we were talking about earlier. Biosolids, I did do some reading. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but it is a provincial matter. There's one part of the province that issues a certificate, and there's another group within the provincial government that goes and enforces it. The municipalities get a certificate, so they're aware. And at that point, I lost the thread as to what you would do if you wanted to actually push back on it or ask for enforcement or testing. So, but that's something to look into. On the short-term rentals, we do need more availability for hotels or accommodation, because we are growing in terms of our events and attractions for this area. I think one of the other reasons for licensing the short-term rentals for the municipality is also an opportunity to raise money. They call it a municipal accommodation tax, and it works to about 4%. And the tax, okay, everybody doesn't like the word tax, but the fact is that all these municipalities I looked at, they take that tax and they put it back into the development of the community, right? So to add in, to help with beautification or for events and supporting events. So it's one thing to look at. There are some cons, but there are some pros, maybe for licensing and also for safety, I think is, I think it was Jacob that pointed that out. The other thing is, if I have time, is that there are a lot of service groups and in our area. I'm currently president of the Kiwanis Club of Tweed, although Don not only became mayor, but he dethroned me as president. So he's now the president. Oh, well, anyway, I want to support the groups because they help our community as well.
Thank you, Paul. Candidate Natalie Hunt.
Okay, so I honestly fell down a giant rabbit hole of researching these topics. Some of them I have familiarity with, Paul was the first one to mention what is MAT tax, so we'll talk about short-term accommodations first. Some people may not know this, but accommodations in Ontario pay a tourism tax. Stoker Lake Lodge pays it, Beechwood Hollow pays it, Park Place Motel pays it. In my personal opinion, if you aren't licensing your business in Tweed, your tourism business, you should also be paying MAT tax. This is to make up for tourists produce more garbage, they produce more foot and road traffic. So, not a popular opinion. People don't like to see taxes. In comparison, Brockville makes their Airbnbs and other accommodations license. They do not charge a MAT tax. Just to correct you, MAT tax in our area is actually 2%. Places like County, Niagara Falls, they're up to 4%. But that's just a comparison, it's just a different tourism. As far as the library goes, again, I probably won't be the popular opinion. Through research, my hometown is Carleton Place, Ontario, the Ottawa Valley. It's grown huge since I've left. Their population is double ours. Their budget for their library is just over $40,000 more than ours. So they're about $200,000. We're at, as mentioned, was $160,000. I'm all for libraries, don't get me wrong, I want to support it, I'm comfortable with that number. I would like to reassess what our library is doing in our community. The readings, all this literature, fantastic. I would like to see some more sustainability seminars, teaching people how to live affordably. There's more programs we can bring to our library that I'd love to support with that budget. As far as the sludge, all the reading I've done, which is days and days of looking at a laptop, it's fine, the corn tastes great, we're safe.
is Jim Fleeler. You're the last one.
I have to go see the doctor tomorrow. Anyway, library from its inception to today, it was an incredible story. The crew that planned the library, they did an excellent job. They took out all the bugs. It's an education center, extraordinaire. A couple of the facts here. We've got we get a grant of $12,676 from the government every year. We donate the rest. That's been the same for the past 19 years. We have 32% of our patrons are members. 113 times they signed out computers. 152 patrons access Wi-Fi. 132 patrons were helped with their issues with their computers. 88 programs for adults, 726 people attended, 54 programs for the children, 589 attended. We need our library. Short-term accommodations, it's still under perusal. I don't have enough information to make a decision right now. When I get the information, I will come back to you. NASM, we could put 1,000 bylaws in place, and it's mandated by the provincial government. They have the last say. I've asked the ministers directly, and I got no straight answers. We have an opportunity here, and I'm going to pick on some entrepreneurs. We have an amazing municipality. We've got entrepreneurs here that develop businesses from scratch. We've got an opportunity to build 550 houses in our municipality, in the village proper. If we do that, that'll increase our bottom line. We can reach out to the hamlets, do things for our hamlets, which are our jewels. We can create jobs. We need to look after.
You got the bell. Thank you, Jim. I believe we're going to take another short break. We're quite a bit ahead, which is great, because that means we can probably do some additional questions from the floor. So take another quick break, whoever needs it, and we'll come back and do some questions from the floor.
I go up there every time I get back.
Okay, everyone. Well, our last few candidates make their way back to the table here. This is how we're going to work this next little section. So first, can I ask how many people on the floor might have a question, or how many people have a burning question to ask? Wow, it's going to be a short question period. Okay, we've got a couple. Great. Cool, Alan's got one. Okay, so basically what we're going to do, we want to make sure every candidate has a fair opportunity to answer a question. So we'll go through once and everybody will be able to answer one question. If you're burning to respond to a question, you can both answer the same question, but you'll each get 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes still, to answer that question. We're going to ask you to speak loudly from the floor. I'll repeat the question so that everybody hears it. And then if you are really burning to answer that question, you can step up here. If we have more time after everybody's answered one question, then we'll continue on and everybody can answer a second, etc. If nobody wants to answer the question, I'm just going to pick somebody at random. So good luck. Alrighty. So who has a question from the floor? I think you're the first with your hand up. Yeah.
My question is to do with the tornado that we had up in Tweed, mostly in the Antenna Light area and across Potter Settlement and over. We have hundreds and hundreds of acres of trees, which is a burn hazard, and we just found out that the emergency response was removed. Therefore, the government no longer has any rights or obligations to help any one of us with the hundreds and hundreds. 54.4 kilometers is what we measured on our drone, by 1.5 kilometers wide of trees and swath all the way down. They are brown, they are decaying, and they are now a fire hazard. If we have another fire in Actinolite or our community, house to house to house are so close. We also have an issue with the conservation area with Quinty. Conservation, Our houses all have trees on their property on our waterfront where I live. We are not legally allowed to cut those trees down until the ice freezes and falls. It is their trees and they will not cut them. It is now our responsibility to cut them. And they are a burn hazard. I will lose my house, my neighbors will lose their homes. We need the government to go, we need our emergency response back on, so the government will actually bring loggers in to remove this fire hazard. So if we have a fire this year, or if they continue into the next season, we're into a bigger fire hazard, and it's everybody in the community.
So I guess the question would be what the candidates would do to help clear the trees or petition the government.
Get that emergency, well, Tweed would never remove the emergency response that they had in place.
Right, okay, so
because now it's now sent to the government, we're all fine.
Right.
We're not.
Okay, so the question is, based on the emergency government reparations from the tornado, and what council would do to continue to work on repairing that. Anybody burning to answer that question? Lindsay? Yeah, great.
Yes, I had put in my platform that I would be advocating for all the residents that were hit by the tornado that still needed help with the cleanup, whether that meant that letters had to be sent to the government to get more help, that I would do whatever needed to be done to get the help that the residents needed.
I've done that, and I've done nothing.
Yeah, this is a topic that is quite near and dear to me because my winery is actually right near. I was quite lucky that it didn't hit me, but it looks like an atomic bomb went off. She's absolutely correct. If we don't clean that up, one lightning strike, we got problems. I got to be careful what I say here because I know because of the COVID restrictions, the Tweed was quite, the council basically, I don't know if they meant to do it, I don't think they did, but we kind of hauled out our emergency services. If you were not vaccinated, you couldn't basically be a volunteer emergency responder. That's a problem. And I'll tell you why. If you got a fire and you want to reach out to the folks that are going to come and help you, they're not there, or half of them are there. That's a problem. To me, personally, if I'm stuck in a house fire and I got to get out of there, I don't care what your vax status is. Get me out. Thank you. So the problem when you take the emergency services off, what can happen when it's on, you can reach out to the province, and what they would do is they would reach out to the local loggers and say, hey guys, we know you got logging contracts, but we need to clean this up first. And then that's what they do. By taking the emergency measures off, this puts us all in jeopardy. And I hope that council in their wisdom, at least if I get voted in, I will take a good hard look at that and make sure that gets cleaned up. Whether it's volunteers, I don't care how we got to clean up, we got to clean it up. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Sandor. Next question. Oh, you want to? Yeah, great. Yeah, please.
Yes, I agree with you, and it's not only just the logs that's coming through, but basically if and when they're left there over the winter time, basically the flooding starts and it blows right through. It can take dams out, beaver dams out, and it can take bridges and the whole works out. And no, we are looking at that and we haven't ignored it, but basically we have to get a response too as well at the municipality level, and we haven't forgotten about you. Okay, thanks.
I do have a second question.
Thank you, Brian. We'll go around the room and yeah. Anybody else want to answer that question? Nope. Okay, moving on. Next question. Yeah, back there, sir.
Oh, sure. It's not a question, it's a suggestion. Harold Bateman. Grandkids are 6 generations. And just to plug in for the Batemans. The present council and possibly the previous councils, before the COVID, they had a volunteers banquet and social evening at the curling club. And then the COVID come in and they had to cancel it, so the council did a turkey and a ham, which was really good. I would really appreciate if these two, present and new council, would get together and have that again, because it's a really good evening and the volunteers really appreciate it.
That's a lovely suggestion. Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Yeah, back there, sir. You had a question? Yeah.
Yes. Member of Queensboro, last night we lost a house. We lose 1 decade. While I was watching the firemen, I noticed that they were taking water out of the river. So this reminded me of a situation from 2014 when I was trying to get insurance. One of the questions they asked at the insurance farm, where's the nearest fire station? 20 kilometers. Where's the nearest fire hydrant? 20 kilometers. One agent said, well, that's part of your problem. He says, you people are paying $400 or $500 more per year for your insurance because you don't have a fire hydrant nearby. But he said, dry hydrants count as hydrants. So I have talked to fire officials in Racing and also Prince Edward County where there are some. They're not hard to build and they're not terribly expensive. They're basically ABS piping. So I had approached Municipal Council informally and also at a town meeting. Hey, can we get dry hydrant in? I got all sorts of excuses, and 8 years later, we still do not have one. And when you don't have one, you're actually putting the firefighter in danger when they have to scramble down in the embankment. Last night it was at 2 o'clock, and you can't see anything, and that's the problem. So my question is, are you committed to providing each of the hamlets with the suitable dry hydrant solution?
So yeah, great. So if anybody missed that question, it was whether council would be willing to provide each of the hamlets with a dry hydrant solution. Natalie.
Okay, so you're speaking near and dear to my heart. As I mentioned, I actually live in the hamlet of Thomasburg. Me and my husband bought our house there 14 years ago. Well, we lived with his parents for a year, and then we bought our house just down the road, also in Thomasburg. When we sought home insurance, our closest fire department is in Ivanhoe. I've spoke to my neighbors. I've done foot traffic all over Thomasburg. This is a priority to me. I haven't done the numbers. You've obviously done your homework. It's nerve-wracking to me and my family. I live in a home built in 1901. We have wood siding. Other than our beautiful spring, which is also shut down, I don't know where they'd get water to save my home. So, like I said, I don't have a solution to it. It is a priority to me, and that's my address to all the hamlets. It's not just Thomasburg. Obviously, it's a concern for you as well.
Thank you, Natalie. We have to get to everybody first. Anybody else want to answer that question? We can't go twice yet. Sorry. But if you come up again, just address it again when you come back up. Jamie? Yeah, great.
Hi, Graham. As you know, I spent over 12 years in that fire department, and I know Chief Little has been identifying spots for a dry hydrant. And for those that don't know what a dry hydrant is, it's basically a hookup for a hose that goes into a body of water. And now I know there's one at the dam, a dry hydrant. I know there's some other, I think, around Marrowbank area.
You can use my property to put one on. I've got the lake right there.
And our fire department is top notch. They do have shuttle accreditation. They can shuttle water in a certain amount of time. I think if you mention that to your homeowner's insurance, that'll help as well. But I know Chief Little has been trying to identify spots where they're needed, and he is working towards getting those in.
Great. Thank you, Jamie. Okay, next question. Yeah, all the way in the back there.
Can I just follow up on that? Jamie, you're in the fire department. Do you know if we have a porta potty? Because I checked with the fire department a few years ago because I had the same problem. And
Jamie's cheating. You get 15 seconds.
A year and a half ago, I ended up having to change my fire insurance company because of this exact thing. They said, sorry, you're too far from there. A lot of municipalities have a porta potties where the tanker comes in, drops into a big portable swimming pool, and they pump
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't speak for what they have now, but when I was there, I think we had 3. So they do have them. They open them up, they drop their loads in, they start drafting, and then the shuttling process starts. So yes, they do have them.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, other questions? Ellen.
A number of people have mentioned the necessity for encouraging more businesses and families to move into the community. And I just wondered if anybody had any ideas how they would go about doing that?
Lovely question. So how do we encourage more businesses and families to move into the community? Who wants to take that one? Nice juicy question. Sandra's salivating. Paul, here we go.
You're not letting me speak.
Only if we can help it, Sandra. All right, so that's such, opens up such a Pandora's box. How do you get development? You need people to come in and spend money. They need to make money to be attracted. So one of the things we can do on council is look for grant programs or funding loans. There's a federal program that for municipalities which provide grants and loans at favorable rates to communities that we could apply to some beautification, for services, for promotion. That's just one thing. So one of the things that I want to do on council is understand what all the avenues are for funding for municipalities, because there's some at the federal level and there's some at the provincial level as well. And then there's just funding that we can generate through our own property taxes. I'm not suggesting we increase our property taxes, that's what I'm saying, but there may be a way to increase our property tax base so that we actually get more money allocated to us from the province through the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. I think that's what it is. So there's lots of things we can do. We just need money, and we also need to help seed that, but we need to get that and then to attract people that are willing to spend the money to come in and invest. And a lot of people have. I mean, there are some empty storefronts, but there's a lot of events that go on here. I mean, just the Tweed Elvis Festival alone. Does anybody know how much it costs to put on that festival? No? $80,000 to $90,000. That's a lot of money. I don't know if it's Lisa Lesage here, but she's at the back. It's a lot of money. We get some funding from the government, but it all comes from ticket sales. It all comes from volunteer. It all comes in kind from the municipality and other contributors. So there's lots we can do, and that's the thing I'd like to do on council, is find out how we can work with groups like the Tweed Music Festival, with Kiwanis, with the Lions Club and others to help raise money for our community.
Yeah, with the theater company. Thank you, Paul. Okay, Jim.
There goes my free ticket.
All right, I'm going to get back to the development piece here. Our mayor-elect has put 9 pillars in place, and I would like to add one more that he uses consistently, is common sense. It only makes sense that we have an opportunity to develop. We have an opportunity to build 550 houses. I probably won't see that myself, but we have to work with the developers and get this thing going. If we can start developing houses, our storefronts will open, our businesses will become more, we'll be able to create jobs. It's an opportunity that we have that we have to make sure that we can do it properly. I would like to have if I get reelected, I would like to have town hall meetings to pick your brains, to see what we can do. What can we do? We need your ideas. I haven't got all the ideas. I don't have all the answers. We could work together as a team to get this going. I am so excited about the opportunities that we have. And the young entrepreneurs here, I keep picking on those guys and ladies. We've got opportunities that we haven't had in 50 years. Let's make those opportunities fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Anybody else who hasn't spoken yet would like to address that question? No? Okay, we'll move on to another question. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Tammy?
Hi. The question I want to address has been touched on. My background is in long-term care. I'm not a nurse, but I went through SARS-CoV-1, H1N1, swine flu, bird flu, C. difficile, MRSA, and VR. With what happened with the emergency measures and our municipality, as a result of decisions made by the present council, we lost at least 6 firefighters with accumulated over 50 to 56 years experience, which I personally feel, as somebody whose family has been through a fire themselves, left our municipality at risk. I would like to know where everybody stands on this issue, and given the new rules and laws that are in place now, where does everybody stand, and when will our firefighters be reinstated?
I believe, so who have we not heard from? Peter, Pete, Brenda, and Seamus. Yes? Oh, and Jacob. Sorry, Jacob. All right, if you done, okay, Pete's going to answer that one. Yeah, take the heavy one, Pete.
All right. I think those firefighters should already be back to work, to be honest with you. And at the end of the day, I think what should have been done is everyone should be provided with the information that they needed. And then as adults, we should be allowed to make the right decision for ourselves and for our families and go forward with that. I believe that the government overreach on this subject has been unacceptable, and that's not just on the municipal, but I mean on the provincial and on the federal level. Yeah, that's, yeah. I was pretty shocked when I heard that, to be honest with you. And one of the greatest assets you have as a community are those that are willing to come out and contribute to the community for free, and that's our volunteers. And that would be our firefighters. I had no idea we had that many combined hours that we lost. You said 50?
Over 50 years.
56 years, like that's, yeah, I'm really sort of, that's incredible. Yeah, they should be back to work right now, to be honest with you. Especially with what's sitting on the ground waiting to burn and acting light, right? Like, yeah. All right. Thank you. That was a great question.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, Brenda's going to say something.
I think if I'm elected, I would be revisiting the whole thing. And I think council needs to move on and maybe look at getting the firefighters back and a few other people.
All right, next question. Yep.
As an example, hi, I'm Tina. I've been in Tweed for 2 years. There was a fire next door to my home. And at the conclusion of that fire, I found out that there were a lot of illegal animals that were being kept as pets, like lizards and snakes and tarantulas. I understand there's a bylaw against those types of pets. I put in a request that people who had those animals be held to account. And Peter, your brochure spoke to me because you said you will hold people to account. I would like to know from the municipality, we have a lot of bylaws, that being one of them, what will council do to ensure that people are being held to account?
So that question was, what will council do to hold people to account on bylaws specifically? Anybody? Peter, here is your question.
Sure. Bylaws or staff?
Pardon me?
For the bylaws?
It was against the bylaw, yes.
So this isn't a whole lot easier than Peter's, but so I haven't worked on council. I would. I'm not trying to eat up my 2 minutes. I would gently suggest that our bylaw enforcement is lacking. I think our bylaw enforcement, I think when somebody goes to enforce a bylaw, the will of council to continue with it into the court process wanes. It gets expensive. I don't think that that's what we should be doing. I think as a council, we need to take a stand. So if it's exotic pets, in your case, then we have to say that this is inappropriate, it's against our bylaw, and we need to move forward. And that's how we start to hold people account. So in this example, the first person would be your neighbor, and we would hold them to account. The next person who has exotic pets in their home would say to themselves, I've got to conform to what the bylaw is, or there are genuine consequences. That's how we hold people accountable.
Over here. Jacob or Seamus, do you have anything to? Yeah, you want to jump in on that one?
I know Sandra wants to get back up, so I'll help him out. So to start, one of the big issues we have in a small municipality like Tweed is our budget. We've tried, we have improved it, we're not perfect. The hardest part, one of the hardest things I found being on council is putting bylaws in place. Because why are we going to put bylaws in place that we can't enforce? It's just a waste of paper sitting in the back in the municipal office. So that's an issue that we've been struggling with, is where do we draw the line with our municipal budget. Now in your case, or not specifically, but in general, we have been working at, and we've just worked with lawyers to come up with a new penalty system that grows as you reoffend, and this is to try to persuade people from breaking these and looking into them before they move in, because somebody in that situation should be looking into it before they bring exotic pets. And I know it wouldn't sit very well with me if there were snakes involved. That's not good. So no, it's something that we're working on. It's something we really need to improve. Right now, we share our bylaw services with other municipalities, a lot like our building services, and so far it's been successful in the fact that we have been able to have someone full-time, but now we need to grow that service so that we can have better service within our municipality, because our municipality is one of the largest calls for help. One issue that we have here is that we are reactive, not proactive. And that's something we need to improve. We need to try to be more proactive to find these issues. Those ones are difficult unless something's online that our bylaws able to find. But no, we've been working at penalties to try to alleviate these different bylaw issues that we've put in place.
Great. Thank you, Jacob. Okay, burning question for Seamus. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Again, I live in Actinolite, and a couple of months, well, I guess it was when the firefighters were let go of their positions. One night I ended up having an anaphylactic shock. When I called 911, I was told, basically, so sorry, but the only ambulance we have is on another call with a heart attack. The firefighters were not available, and I was there for 45 minutes while my husband is breathing for me. Thank God I have a full 911 kit and oxygen at home. Had to be intubated by my husband in my own home to keep me alive, and 12 EPIs to keep me alive. No firefighter and no ambulance came, and I was told that we have one ambulance to 3 communities. And so one person, and I'm sorry, we are very old. Most of us are all 50 plus community. So heart attacks and everything else is big. So I'd like to know, when are we getting our firefighters back, and can we do anything about getting a better response program for people when they do have an emergency, because it's not good when nobody is available.
Great, so the question is availability of emergency services.
Yes.
We'll let Seamus answer this one, and then I think if we each take another 2 minutes to rebut anything that we've heard over the past few questions, that's probably that question maybe.
I think that is a very important issue for the emergency services. Another is the healthcare in this area, like you mentioned, the aging population. Access to medication and access to emergency services is very important. I'm sure there's funding available for that, so the price or money should not be an issue. It's a required service, and that definitely needs to be addressed.
The ambulance issue, I mean, I'm putting my house up for sale to get out of here, because that shocked the hell out of me that I can't get an ambulance to my home.
Yeah, you're lucky to be alive.
Like one ambulance to 3, like Madoc, Marmara, and Tweed, and the whole surrounding area. One ambulance. We just had our neighbor die of a heart attack because an ambulance couldn't come to him. Could not come.
That makes no sense.
Right? So I'm appalled, and we need to fight as a community. I don't care, raise my taxes. I have no problem paying more taxes, because we need an ambulance really to our community, our area. It's huge. So if an ambulance is up in the township, another person has a heart attack in town, so sorry, but that guy's gonna die. And that's unacceptable.
No, it is unacceptable. I think we could promote to try to get doctors or more access to healthcare in the area, and that is definitely a major concern that needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Seamus. Do you want me to ask that one?
Sorry. We had somebody send us a couple of questions after the cutoff date to candidates, so I just wanted to ask one of them because I don't know if they're here tonight, but I just wanted to ask one of the two because they did send in a question. It's just a little late, and then we opened it to people, so I just wanted to ask one of their questions. So the question is, regarding council training, specifically what types of training the new council is going to be taking to ensure they understand basic tasks like how to conduct themselves in a meeting, how to deal with conflicts of interest, and their general role and responsibility to the community.
So, we'll give you each 1 more minute, Janice?
Sure.
Yeah, it's not much, but 1 minute to answer that question and or refute or discuss anything of the previous questions asked. Why don't we just go down the line? So Paul, do you want to start us off?
And sorry about not mentioning about the theater, Tweed Theater. Okay, so the first thing in terms of training, I believe there is training that for the people that are successful, the candidates that are successful, there is training. And then there's a review of the conduct rules for running meetings and how they're done and when we meet, how we meet, etc. and quorum. So I believe that training is there, and a lot of it will just be done through trial and error after that, because there's a lot of nuances that you just can't put into a bylaw or to a procedural book. So I believe that's true. Like Don's shaking his head yes, so it must be true. Okay. There are healthcare, firemen, they're all huge issues. And some of the research that I've done, there is funding that's transferred to the municipalities because healthcare is both the provincial, well, it's all levels of government that support it. We implement it though at the municipal level. So we need more doctors, we need more health services, we need more, we need emergency care, all of those things.
Quick one.
Oh, okay.
Good answer, Paul. Thank you, Paul.
I forgot it was on the
Lindsay, go on up.
So yeah, I guess there's really no point in answering the training question. But about the firemen, from what I understand, we had 6 fully trained. The ambulance, we have a bay for the ambulance right here in Tweed. And they come from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There is no reason why an ambulance couldn't be stationed here in Tweed 24/7. Yeah, they're stationed in MADOC 24/7. We can look into what funding would be needed for them to be stationed in Tweed, but there's already a bay for an ambulance here.
Thank you, Lindsay. Peter. I love the arts. Free tickets. Anyway, council training. So when we all put our name on the ballot, we were given opportunity to take part in some online training from somebody who's done it year after year for all of the potential councillors and all of the current councillors. I can't tell you who up here sat in on it. I know I sat in on it, and that kind of gave me some overview as the grander expectations for what will be required of me moving forward. How to get people here, kind of with Jim on that. We need to build houses. We need to give families a place to live in town. And it doesn't matter whether it's a big single family home or a low income home. We need families. Families and kids drive what we have. There's lots of us who are over 50, 60, who will probably spend the rest of our lives here, but we're going to want to move into something smaller. So we're going to want some retirement stuff that's small, that's going to make us comfortable, but we also need that stuff for families to come in, because families bring kids,
they get your schools going, they support your arenas, softball, all that kind of stuff. Go to the arts.
Thank you, Peter. Great answer. Pete.
Okay, see, I would certainly agree with the we need to do some building here. I know I've heard of some projects that were proposed and are still in limbo, waiting to happen. And of course, I would like to see a lot more building, because then that means I got a little more job security, right? Speak to the issue in Acton Lake with the down lumber out there. After the tornado hit, I had a relationship with Ty over at the Zen Forest, and so I came out to offer my service and help. I put in 52 hours of my time running a chainsaw, cutting out as much as I could. And to be honest with you, for all the volunteers that didn't make it out there, and there was a lot of us, we barely put a dent in it. There's so much that needs to be brought out of there. I have started looking into trying to see if we can get that stuff chipped and then sent out to some of the biomass electrical generation plants that we have here in Ontario. That way we can actually recoup some money for what is basically useless right now to us. And hopefully they pay well enough that it's worth our time to send it.
Thanks, Pete. Candela.
I get to speak, and I love the arts too. When I was chief of staff in New York City, one of my jobs was to work with the HR department, so I'm well aware of Robert's rules and the Code of Ethics. That's quite simple. My concern tonight is one of the, I was not able to talk about my platform. Out of my truck, I've got a big Bristol board of Tweed today and what Tweed could look like in the future with proper investment. Another thing about me I didn't talk about tonight is that I actually was paid to write grant applications for a living. So I would teach people how to write successful grant applications. To Paul's point, I'm the right person for this. I can bring the grants in. My little winery got 100 grand this year, we got 100 grand last year, and I got 100 grand the year before from the federal government to promote tourism. Not bad. For a little winery in Tweed. I can do the exact same thing for our town to help improve our community. I'm 100% with you. I think our bylaw officers need more teeth. Getting back to the Tweeds we were burning down, if we had stricter bylaws about taking care of century buildings to save them, you wouldn't have to jeopardize every other building down the road. I can go on and on about that.
Thank you, Sandra. Okay, so we're actually at time, so apparently you guys aren't going to get to talk. Sorry. Mix and mingle portion. Please find your candidates and ask them any questions you have. Anything else? Do you want me to leave the mic on? And
that's not fair.
Let
them speak.
Yeah, it's not fair. You should let them speak.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great. If you want to mix and mingle, go outside. Okay, so here comes Dave.
So that's my strength, so I guess we're doing this first. I should get Sandor to write my grant applications for the farm. So one thing that I did notice here, with all these questions kind of tied together, is that there's a lot of individual issues. As much as I like to think that I know a lot, I don't know very much. So people need to reach out, because we can't know everything going on. If we know that all these issues going on, then we can help. Graham, I wasn't aware of your issue, but with this term. But those type of things can be resolved as long as people reach out to us. So that's the biggest thing. I know this is a great forum for it, but it's as easy as an email. You can find it on the municipal website. You can also put in complaints on the municipal website. And I know that's not always as accepted. Call the municipality. We have a phone number there. We have great staff. Something else to talk about, ambulance services. We tried really hard to offer up free property the municipality had to try to get their new bay here. Unfortunately, we weren't successful. So that means back to the drawing board, back to trying to get those services back within our municipality, because it is scary, and I went through a situation in the spring. So that's something that's right at the forefront, and something that we're going to kind of start over and work towards, because that's how we thought we were going to solve it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jacob. Jimmy? You're fine.
Better get the ambulance. How about that Tweed and Company? So, I agree, we need to get bigger teeth. We've got a bylaw enforcement officer, we put bylaws in place, we need to have bigger teeth. We need to make this work. There's no reason why we can't. As far as the ambulance service goes, we've been trying to get a car here 24/7 for a long time. We're not giving up. Getting back to the housing issue, we need houses for everyone. We have, I don't know, I think it was 8 years ago, maybe longer than that, we went to a round table in Belleville. At that time, we were 3,000 doors short in Hastings County of having enough accommodations for the people that live in Hastings County. So, how many are we short now? We need to get this thing going. We need teamwork. We need to work together. We need to pick your brains. We need to, and as far as the code of conduct goes, I've taken every course available, and yes, it is necessary to do that. We need to inspire our youth. I'm going after the young entrepreneurs again. We have an opportunity of a lifetime. We need to make this thing work. And what?
Heard it. Thank you, Jen. I'll remind the candidates I only have one vote. Thank you. Okay, Jamie.
Does that mean you're out, Tim? I was just looking around here before we started, and I just realized if I get elected, I'm probably going to be the shortest member of council here. So, anyways, back to new councilor training. It was something that I'll never forget. The first time they threw that budget binder on the front of the desk in front of me, I thought, oh crap. But you know, at the end of the day, there is some new councilor training that's available by a gentleman named Freddie, and it was in Kingston, and I had some good company for that training that year I got on, because it was a new course, and that company just happened to be our mayor-elect. And I'll never forget our Kentucky Fried Chicken runs. This council has been very aggressive in housing with secondary units, granny flats, and reducing the size of homes so that young people and retirees can save for their future and have a home of their own. And I think we've been really using our resources to the full advantage that we could.
Thank you, Jamie. Natalie?
Okay, so I've got the ding every single time, so I'm going to be really, really short this time. As far as the original question about training, I hope it's extensive because I've never done this before. Like I said, my education is in hospitality and tourism. It's what I've worked in since I was 18 years old. This is absolutely new for me, but what I can tell you is that I'm passionate about it. I'll learn as much as I can. I'll speak to as many of you as I can. Everything that's been brought up to me tonight, I've only learned in the last, since I signed the papers with Karen. So it's all a learning curve. I hope the training, like I said, is extensive. To the firefighter mandate, the only thing I'm going to say about it is if it's not revisited, I can't sit on council. So quite obviously, it needs to be addressed. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, Natalie. Brian?
Why didn't you let me grab this? I waited a long time to get back up here again. Just a couple of things. Ladies, I'm aware of your situation. I was out there the other day regarding the snakes in the house, and that hasn't been left, so that will be looked after. Okay? Where the firefighters are concerned, if you check the Tweed News of a few weeks ago, one of my statements was the fact that if I'm elected back in council, one of my first obligations would be to try and have that rescinded to firefighters. You do a hell of a job, and we think highly of you. I think highly of you. Anyway, the lady down here had, you were asking about housing. 13 Ways Consulting is a firm that was hired by the municipality to perform an independent assessment. We've started that off. But if you get your input into that they're going to do a complete analysis of the whole municipality, and they're going to look at ways in which we can accommodate better there along the lines. Right now, the stage it's at right now is the engagement stage. And then after that, there's going to be the assessment stage, report and recommendations, and a wrap-up presentation. So it'll be quite extensive, but it will be out hopefully by the end of the year. So basically look at that, and don't be afraid to check with Rochelle at the municipality, because she's the person, the contact person there, and if you need to have input into or some of the sessions that are going on, please call her, okay? And thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you, Brian. Brenda.
Cold blank. Yes, I'm willing to learn. I'm looking forward to learning. I don't know much about the council, but I have a passion for Tweed and its people and the area, the whole area. We definitely have a few things we have to look into, like healthcare. And like I said in my second comment, that we all need to work together because not everybody here knows everything, like Jacob said. We have a whole bunch of people with knowledge and a lot of years behind it.
Thank you, Brenda. And last but not least, Seamus.
I've completed my professional practice and ethics exam in order to get my certification with the Ontario Association of Civil Engineering Technicians and Technologists for CTEC through OSET. As what I understand at this point is that the council's actions and roles and responsibilities are governed by the Municipal Act and procedural bylaw. And I'm looking forward to learning anything I have to. And the day you stop learning is the day you die.
All right, again, thank you all so much for coming. Let's give a big round of applause to the Chamber for hosting. And a final big round of applause to all of our incredible candidates. Thank you all again for your service. There will be a mix and mingle portion until 9 p.m., so please do find your candidates. If you have any questions, chat them up, get a coffee or a cookie, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Gateway to London, you want to come over here because I got a story to tell.